Today, we are going to learn about cash and marketable securities management. Are you ready? So first of all, what is cash? Anyone from the class? Yes, David.
Cash is known as the most liquid but least productive asset of the firm.
I have a question, teacher. Shouldn't we invest all of our cash and make it idle?
No, we need to maintain a minimum cash balance.
But why should we hold some cash?
First is for transactional motives. In a less advanced economy where cash freely flows from one hand to another and the use of checks and other modern means of payments is less practical, transacting business on cash is the norm. Hence, petty cash fund is maintained. This is used in paying small expenses such as fares and other recurring minimal expenditures. Moreover, cash is also maintained to meet loan conditions, contractual requirements, and deposit arrangements.
Teacher, I've read about the second motive.
Yes, please proceed, Mr. Canteros.
Second is for speculative motives. Business is the art of speculation. If you can predict the business environment clearer and have the right resource on hand, then you have a winning business mix. Changes in prices such as large discounts and price markdowns, it is at this time when those who have available cash get the best bargain.
Precisely. Anyone else who can share the last motive with the class?
The last one is for precautionary motive. A wise financial manager always sets aside cash for contingencies and unprecedented events. Although the field of management science has developed amazing forecasting techniques to address the issues of risk and uncertainty, contingencies still abound. Many firms suffer financial disasters as a result of these unforeseen events, ruining their business. Thus, maintaining a fund for precautionary reasons is one of the wisest strategies.
Now let's have a quick recap. Who can recall the 3 reasons for holding cash? Yes, Mr. Ladica?
Ma'am, the reasons for holding cash are for transactional motives, speculative motives, and precautionary motives.
Great job. Now let's proceed on discussing marketable securities. Now, who can define marketable securities based on their own words? Anyone? Yes, Mr. Olaso.
Ma'am, marketable securities are financial instruments that can be liquidated to cash quickly. In other words, these are short-term assets that a company holds for quick conversion of cash. These can be invested in money markets, derivatives, and capital markets.
Outstanding. Now, why is there a need to hold marketable securities? Yes, Camille.
Marketable securities are also used for precautionary measures, the same with cash. And lastly, it is for investment purposes. Surpluses means lots of money, and lots of money means happiness.
So let's proceed to managing the cash balance. So there are 3 considerations in line with this. First is the optimum cash balance. Next is the effective borrowing rate. And lastly is the cash float management. Ms. Josoy, can you please explain what is an optimum cash balance?
We all know that cash balance should be at its optimum, and this is the amount of cash that minimizes the total costs of holding and managing cash for your business. Practically speaking, an optimum cash balance is difficult to maintain.
Teacher, how do we compute the optimum cash balance then?
Using the Baumol model developed by William J. Baumol. Now, can someone explain the formula for this model? Yes, Ms. Basilad.
The Baumol cash balance model can be computed by finding the square root of 2 multiplied by the annual cash demand, multiplied by the cost per transaction, and dividing it to the carrying cost rate. Actually, this is just a resemblance to economic order quantity or EOQ.
Excellent. Now let us have a sample problem using this model. Leomar Corporation expects to make even monthly cash payments of 160,000 pesos during the year. The average return on money market placements is 8% per annum and expects to pay 250 pesos per cash transfer. Requirements: A. Optimum cash size per transaction. B. Average cash balance. C. Number of cash transfers per year. And D. Total relevant cost at the optimum cash size. Using the Baumol model, who can compute the optimum cash size per transactions? Yes, Mr. Ladica?
First, we can get the annual cash demand by multiplying the monthly payments of 160,000 to 12 to get the annual demand of 1,920,000 pesos. Then, by using the formula, we get the square root of 2 multiplied by 1,920,000 annual demand times 250 cost per transaction over 8% carrying cost rate. The optimal cash balance is 109,554.
That is correct. Now, who can find the average cash balance? Miss Estrella.
To get the average cash balance, we simply divide the optimum cash size to 2. The answer is 54,772.
Great job. Now, how about the number of cash transfers per year? Anyone? Yes, Miss Husoy?
Is it 17.53 times?
That is right. How did you get it?
By dividing the annual demand of 1,920,000 to the optimum cash size of 109,554, we can get the number of cash transfers per year at 17.53 times.
Correct. Thank you, Miss Husoy. Now, who can get the total relevant cost at the optimum cash size? Yes, Miss Mira.
Get the transaction cost. We multiply the number of transactions to cost per transaction, 17.53 times 250 to arrive at 4,382. While to get the opportunity cost, average cash balance multiplied by the carrying cost rate, 54,772 times 8% to get 4,382. Finally, to get the total relevant cost, we simply add the 2. The answer is 8,764.
Excellent. Now, there are times when a company's cash budget experiences deficits, and the only solution that is left to tap into is through short-term debt financing. When opting to finance using short-term, effective borrowing should be taken into account. So how is this determined? Ms. Tare.
The effective cost of borrowing is determined by using the formula. Periodic effective borrowing rate equals net borrowing cost over net proceeds, whereas to get the arbitrage pricing rate, we multiply the PEBR to the total number of periods.
Correct. Now, what are included in the net borrowing costs? Can I hear from Mr. Pondo?
Net borrowing costs include the interest paid, processing costs, and other transaction costs, less income and savings derived from money borrowed, if any.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Pondok. Now, Mr. Lorion, how about in the net proceeds?
Net proceeds refer to the principal amount borrowed, less discounted interest, expenses deducted in advance, and incremental compensating cash balance.
Very good. Now let us proceed to the next one, cash flow management. Can anyone share their thoughts on this topic? Yes, Ms. Taer?
Cash flow management refers to the practice of managing the timing of cash inflows and outflows in businesses to optimize the benefits of float, ensuring that it is harmoniously synchronized.
Thank you, Ms. Taer. Now, cash flow management involves two major principles. Please share with the class one principle, Ms. Kaalim.
First is to ensure that operating cash inflows speeds up. Techniques applied in speeding cash collections from customers are high standards in credit approval, shorter trade discount and credit period, and efficient and effective billing system. Cost-effective collection systems are as follows: frequency of collection follow-up, visibility of collection personnel, use of specialized postal system, electronic fund transfer, concentration banking, automatic debit or credit, depository transfer check, cash transfer facility, and electronic payment centers.
Very good. Now let us broaden our understanding on this topic through a sample problem. JC Company has daily cash receipts of 85,000 pesos. A recent analysis of its collection indicated that customers' payments were in the mail an average of 2.5 days. Once received, the payments are processed in 1.5 days. After payments are deposited, it takes an average of 3 days for these receipts to clear the banking system. Using our knowledge from above, who can solve how much collection float does the firm currently have? Yes, Mr. Alaso.
To get the cash collection float, we will multiply the average daily collection of 85,000 pesos to the total float in days, which is equal to 7 days. The total amount of cash collection float is 595,000 pesos.
Excellent. Now, if the firm's opportunity cost is 11%, would it be economically advisable for the firm to pay an annual fee of 16,500 pesos to reduce collection float by 4 days? What is your idea, Miss Basilan?
First, we will get the potential income by multiplying 85,000 to 4 days and multiply it again to the firm's opportunity cost of 11%. The potential income is 37,400 pesos. Then, we will deduct it to the annual cost of reducing the float, 16,500 pesos, to get the net advantage of reducing the float by 4 days, totaling off 2,900 pesos.
Well said. We are done discussing and answering the first principle. How about the second principle? Can you please explain this principle, Miss Tavera?
The second principle is for operating cash outflow to slow down. Effective methods of cash outflow management are use of checks and draft, voucher system, the 3 o'clock habit, TGIF technique, and lastly, the payroll management.
Great job! To illustrate what Ms. Tavera has discussed, let us answer this question regarding this problem. A large Bulacan firm has annual cash disbursements of 360 million pesos, made continuously over the year. Although annual service and administrative costs would increase by 100,000, the firm is considering writing all disbursement checks on a small bank in Pangasinan. The firm estimates that this will allow an additional 1.5 days of cash usage. If the firm earns a return on other equally risky investments of 11%, determine the net advantage or disadvantage of using this technique of cash disbursement. Yes, Ms. Kotamora.
To get the benefit from delaying the payment, we first divide the 360 million cash disbursement to 360 days. Then, multiply it by the additional 1.5 days cash usage, as well as to the 11% return on equally risky investment to get the total benefit of 165,000. Then, we will deduct it by 100,000 because of delaying payment. Therefore, the net benefit of delaying payment through controlled disbursing is 65,000 pesos.
Remember, class? It is noteworthy to reiterate that the basic objective in cash management is to keep the holding of cash as low as possible while still keeping the firm operating efficiently and effectively. Okay? Thank you for listening. Annyeong!